Last week, Trump signed a record-breaking 26 executive orders, surpassing every other past president on his first day back to office. Some of these were aimed at shaking up the housing market. Now, whether you're a homeowner or just curious about the real estate markets, this video will explain what these changes could mean for you. President Trump has made it clear that addressing housing affordability is a priority. On his first day in office, he signed an executive order calling for emergency price relief. Trump acknowledges a housing shortage of over 4 million homes in the United States. To combat this, he plans on focusing on affordability and increasing housing production, reducing or eliminating unnecessary regulations that impact housing, increasing energy production domestically, work to lower interest rates, and make homes more affordable. Regulations imposed by all levels of government account for $93,870, or 23.8% of the current average sales price, $397,300 of new single-family home, according to a study by NAHB from May of 2021. It's no secret that there's a shortage of homes in America, and that's a big reason why prices are so high right now. By cutting unnecessary regulations, Trump aims to lower construction costs and increase the housing supply. The order goes on to state Biden-era regulations are estimated to have imposed almost $50,000 in costs on the average American household, whereas my first-term agenda reduced regulatory costs by almost $11,000 per household. It's critical to restore purchasing power to the American family and improve our quality of life. The percentage breaks down into two major categories: 10.5% from regulations imposed during the land development phase, and 13.3% from regulations applied during the construction phase. This category encompasses costs related to building permits, utility hookups, inspections, and compliance with building codes and safety standards. Impact fees are another major cost in home construction, in addition to other regulatory expenses. These are one-time charges local governments place on new development projects to help pay for public service like roads, schools, and utilities for the new community. While the goal is to reduce the strain of existing infrastructure, these fees can significantly raise the price of new homes. Some argue that impact fees are a form of double taxation, as residents also pay for infrastructure of improvements through property taxes. This creates concerns about affordability and fairness, especially for first-time buyers and those with lower incomes. To tackle this issue, Trump plans to cut unnecessary administrative expenses and eliminate rent-seeking practices that drive up costs. Think of this as trimming the fat, focusing on behind-the-scenes costs that don't add value but still inflate prices. Now, if you're wondering what rent-seeking practices means, it's just a fancy way of describing a situation where regulation or fees unfairly benefit a select few while everybody else pays the price. Examples include inflated permit fees, targeted tariffs that benefit individual companies, or processes that drag on forever. Trump wants to eliminate unnecessary regulations that make home appliances more expensive. This means revisiting energy efficiency standards that sometimes force builders to use more expensive materials or systems. While energy efficiency can lower monthly bills, it can raise upfront costs. As part of the plan, they'll review and possibly roll back energy efficiency standards for single-family and multifamily homes set by HUD and USDA to see if these rules are unnecessarily driving up housing prices. Lengthy permitting processes add to housing costs. Extended loan interest, holding costs, and higher project management expenses, driving up prices, making homes less affordable. Simplifying these processes can lower costs and make homeownership more accessible to more families and people. Permitting delays can also discourage developers from building, worsening housing shortages. By streamlining the process and reducing uncertainty, developers are more likely to invest in new projects, increasing the housing supply and making homes more available to those who need them. There are also big economic benefits to faster permitting. Quicker approvals speed up construction, creating jobs and boosting economic growth. This in turn positively impacts local businesses and communities. Trump has proposed opening up federal land for housing construction. This initiative aims to increase the available land for development, potentially leading to an expansion of housing supply. The United States has approximately 650 million acres of land, or about 28% of the country's total land area. In addition to the land, the federal government owns and manages a vast portfolio of buildings and other structures totaling 2.8 billion square feet of building space in the U.S. Some of this space is underutilized or even unutilized, offering opportunities for conversion or redevelopment to address housing needs. Not all federal land is suitable, but some is. Bureau of Land Management, or BLM, a federal agency, is currently exploring the sale of 20 acres near Las Vegas for housing development. BLM has up to 244.4 million acres of land, some of which may be viable for building and located near other developed communities. Federal land will come with some stringent regulatory processes, so it's difficult to really know how viable of an option this is, especially in the short term. If this was successful, it is one of the many spokes Trump is proposing: job creation and increased tax revenue and boost economic growth. So at the very least, it should be explored as an option.
That is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
President Trump's plan to address energy costs as part of his strategy to tackle housing issues involves a few different points. Trump signed an executive order declaring a national energy emergency aimed at boosting fossil fuel and development across the country. This declaration gives his administration new powers to reduce regulations on energy production, accelerate approval processes for oil drilling operations, expedite construction of pipelines, facilitate faster integration of power plants into the grid. Additional benefits can include reduced prices for energy, positive job growth, energy independence from other foreign countries, reliable energy source, and national security, something Trump has mentioned many times during his campaign. The plan focuses heavily on expanding domestic energy production, particularly fossil fuels, encouraging more oil drilling, including on federal lands, promoting the construction of new pipelines, emphasizing the drill baby drill policies to increase oil and gas production. A significant part of Trump's strategy involves reducing regulations that he believes will drive up energy costs, eliminating what the administration describes as unnecessary and illegal regulatory demands on American energy production, removing policies from the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that promoted wind and solar power and electric vehicles. Trump's definition of energy in this context excludes wind and solar power. Trump argues that by lowering energy costs through these measures, it will help reduce overall costs. The theory is that cheaper energy will lead to lower construction costs for new homes, reduced operating costs for existing homes, and overall improvements in the housing affordability. However, it's important to note that many economists and analysts are skeptical about the effectiveness of these measures in significantly lowering consumer prices or solving the housing affordability crisis. The global nature of energy markets and the complex factors contributing to the housing costs mean that the impact of these policies on housing affordability remains uncertain. President Trump has made lowering mortgage rates a key priority in his second term, but his ability to directly influence rates is very limited. Trump has stated he will demand that interest rates drop immediately. However, the Fed operates independently, and the president cannot control its decision. I would not expect to see any significant decreases in the mortgage rates as a result based solely on a demand. Perhaps he has plans for a more indirect approach. Last week, Logan Moshami, a lead analyst at Housing Wire, explained that Trump's executive orders on tariffs, which establish a committee to review tariffs rather than immediately imposing them, caused a significant reaction in the bond market. According to Logan, this drop was primarily due to bond traders reacting to the formation of the committee rather than the immediate imposition of universal tariffs. A good demonstration of how mortgage rates are sensitive to headline. And since Trump did not initiate a broad sweeping tariff, at least not yet, they reacted positively. Logan emphasizes that the most significant factor affecting home sales is mortgage rates, which are closely tied to the 10-year Treasury yield. Much of the criticism around Trump's position on tariffs is the belief it is going to cause trade wars, which will result in costs rising and heightened inflation. What we don't know is how Trump plans on implementing these, as that will largely have an impact on how housing, mortgage rates, and home affordability will react. I recently did a video on Trump's tariffs. I will link that in the description in case you want to get more details on that. During a question and answer format during the Trump signing of the executive orders, he was asked about tariffs and responded this wasn't the right time. He did state there was a good chance to expect that to happen February 1st. I wouldn't take this too seriously. Trump is a negotiator. This seems to me it is more of a message to Canada, Mexico, and China than it is to us. The National Association of Home Builders, NAHB, has expressed support for Trump's initiative. The NAHB has its own 10-point housing plan, which they hope to implement in the cooperation with the Trump administration and Congress. While the executive order sets broad goals, the specific implementation details and their effectiveness remain to be seen. The success of this plan will likely depend on the cooperation between federal, state, and local governments, as well as the construction industry. There still seems to be a lot of uncertainty about what is going to happen in 2025. There's a sense in the market that there is some positive momentum. What are your thoughts? Do you think these changes will help the market at all? Let me know in the comments below. If you're looking for a realtor, I work with real estate brokers across the country. My contact information is in the description below. If you like this video, check out this next one right up here. My name is Raymond Kennedy. I am a realtor and I've been successfully helping homeowners sell their home for over 2 decades. Thanks for watching and see you next time.